And good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in podcast land. Brendan Cunningham, the real estate doctor at EXP. With me again, Matt Paul. He does it all, but you already knew that. We have somebody that dropped in out of the sky again, like we said last week. You said thrills and spills were in store for you. We had David Weir, our attorney. He talked about interesting and exciting things, but we said, hey, let's bring in another guy to talk about home inspections. Oh my God, home inspections. With us today, we have Mike Reed from All County.
Yep, All County Home Inspections and Inspection Services. So we do everything that needs to be looked at in a house.
Okay,
Not just homes.
This is the real story where the real realtors are going to do. Are you really in all counties? If I go to County Clare in Ireland, are you there?
Probably not.
All right, see, we want
But
full
if
exposure.
there's somebody who wants to open our brand there, we'll go there.
All right, good.
We have an office in Rochester, an office in Buffalo, and an office in Schererville, Indiana.
Get out of it.
Oh, so
Get out of Indiana.
Yeah.
So, Indiana. So you're what, about 15 counties, maybe?
Yep.
Here and
that way, there's a big hole between Buffalo and Schererville.
But basically, you go from Western New York.
Yeah, we're basically from Syracuse to Buffalo down to the PA line.
All right, that's a lot of real estate.
Yeah,
that's a lot of real estate.
Yeah,
now,
a lot of ground covered.
One of the things that you do, in addition, I've used them myself on numerous occasions, but one of the things that happens with the home inspection process, and it's important to understand how we got here, not just here physically.
Right.
It used to be, in the olden days, and I can remember the olden days, that home inspectors really didn't exist. If you had some questions about a house, you might secure the services of an engineer, come in and get an engineer's report. They were a little more involved and a little more expensive, but that was what you researched. All right, you get into the late 80s or so, maybe mid 80s, and home inspectors come on the scene. And in my first book, I wrote the only qualifications to be a home inspector was you needed to have a business card. Mm-hmm. And I was corrected by one of the good home inspectors who happened to be the president of, it was either NASHI or ASHI, whatever, the American Association of Home Inspectors or the National. And he says, well, you really don't even need a business card. At the time, you didn't. Anyone could call themselves a home inspector. And then they started to get formal, and they started to have training and licensing, and all you guys are well-trained, and you have licenses now. But what happened in the interim, if you had questions about the condition of a property, you might get, in the olden days, an engineer's report. This is what you didn't do. You didn't make it necessarily a contract subject to an inspection. Home inspectors come in, and all of a sudden, they started to make it as part of the new normal, that you'd buy a house, you'd enter into a contract, go into escrow, subject to the home inspection. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but in the current environment, where you have multiple offers upon multiple offers, I got 10 offers, and half of these guys have waived their home inspection because they don't want to make the contract subject to one more thing. They want to have a clean deal. All sellers are looking for clean deals. All buyers are looking to put 1 million contingencies in there. So the home inspection contingency becomes a thing. And, well, there was just some serious controversy on this where some people said, well, we should pass a law that they should have 10 days it should be required that the buyer should be able to do a home inspection. Well, 10 days to take a house off the market.
Yeah, it could really hurt you.
It could hurt a seller, and it could hurt everybody because from my perspective, I don't know if you're going to disagree with this, age is good for certain kinds of red wine and certain kinds of cheeses. Yeah. Other than that, it's not good for a real estate transaction.
No, what can happen in that 10 days?
What can happen? People change their minds just because.
Well, I mean, there's an old saying in real estate, time kills all deals.
Kills all deals. Okay.
That's just it. The longer you put in there, the more likely something will come up.
So what's happened is the cart's gotten a little bit before the horse, and great example of I think a better way to do things is my daughter-in-law. She looks at a house on a Sunday. She likes what she sees. They're presenting offers on a Monday. She calls in her home inspector, and she gets him in. She gets the home inspector to go in She goes and she has the home inspector go in on Monday, and the offers are presented on Tuesday. The thing is, her contract is not subject to a home inspection because she did it before. Some people will argue, well, I don't want to necessarily spend the money if I don't know if I'm getting the house.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
It's a very common.
It might be the cost of doing business.
Yep.
If you think you need one, you should get one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and there's so many moving parts in real estate, and I'm the first to say I don't think home inspections should be mandatory. I think when that conversation came about, I think
I agree 100%.
that was a bridge too far.
Mhm.
I do believe that
That's
should,
a nice way of saying
yeah.
that was nuts.
Yeah.
Okay? We'll give you the real story.
What has been landed on was you can't tell someone they can't get an inspection. That's what is being pushed now, is you can't say, no, you can't. And the reason for that is the argument is now you're interfering with someone's ability to do their due diligence. Just like you're saying, no, right now the banks protect you from saying, no, we're not going to loan on the house. If you said, no, we won't get an appraisal, the bank would just say,
well, you're
You
out.
don't get a
You're
loan.
out.
Yeah,
You're out.
exactly.
That's
So
not a thing.
without that, you don't get the money.
Right.
And so now we're starting to see other parties that are involved in the real estate industry say, wait a minute, we're taking risk. Insurance companies, banks, the underwriters at mortgage companies are saying, we're taking a risk that's not worth it. So we won't loan without these things. So we will get calls from closing table. We need to have an inspection done in X number of hours.
Wow.
Can you get there?
Wow.
Also, the appraiser found something. We're supposed to close tomorrow. The appraiser found something that the underwriter doesn't like. We need you to get out there and look at that thing.
Yeah.
So we're getting industries that are beginning to change what they do based on what's happening in the real estate market.
It's a dynamic
Yeah.
market. Things
Yeah.
happen all the time. And one of the things that came as a possible solution, which I thought was wonderful, and I said, gee, I'm amazed that all the inspectors haven't figured this out. You guys were the first ones to do this, where you would say, all right, here's the deal. So that you don't have to make your contract subject to the inspection, let us do this. We'll come in and we'll do a very, very brief walkthrough with you while you're looking at the house, and we'll look at some of the big ticket items like the furnace or the roof or maybe even the
Right.
water. And you know, and we'll charge you a small fee, like what, $175 or something like that.
Yep.
And then at a subsequent date, after you close on the house, we can go back and finish and give you the entire
Full inspection.
full inspection,
Yep.
and we'll credit that toward your total bill. That made a lot of sense, and I know twice I was able to secure 2 offers just by doing it that way. The buyer felt secure, and they also called the guys back in and they did the secondary inspections at the end. Because I always think that the purpose of the home inspection is to make sure that the house is ostensibly good enough conditions for you to buy,
Mhm.
understanding what normal wear and tear conditions are going to be over the next 5 years. Is that fair?
Yeah, and the it's funny because you talked about the history of home inspections.
Mhm.
The things that got us to a licensed state is exactly what we're beginning to do again.
Yeah,
So history repeats
Yeah,
itself.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's only a matter of
It's
time
comical.
until something happens with the current scenario that we're in, and it's usually legislation,
Right.
where something changes. Because what we do is called the consultation, because in New York State's eyes, because we ask, New York State said, if you're not writing a written report, and you're not writing a written report, and you're not making any guarantees, warranties, or calling it an inspection. It's not an inspection. We don't know what it's called.
Mhm.
It's no different than calling your local contractor to say, hey, come look at this house
Yeah.
with me, or your dad, or your uncle,
Yeah.
somebody who knows construction. So it really is that same thing. The downside to it is it has no negotiation power.
No
They
contingency.
basically,
Yeah.
right, they basically can say, I'm walking away based on what I found. Which it's got its good and bad, and that's one of those conversations over a glass of wine or a beer. You can say, "Hey, is this the right way or the wrong way?"
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not for me to decide or you to decide
No,
as an
it's not.
agent. It's for a buyer to decide.
Absolutely.
Can I move forward this way? Because I'm a real we're all adults. We get to make our own choices kind of guy.
Yeah.
So if you're comfortable with the consultation, then do it. If you're comfortable waiting for an inspection, then do it.
Yeah,
Whatever
absolutely.
you need to take care of yourself, because it's you who owns that house next week when that house
Absolutely.
closes.
Yeah, and there's recommendations, and sometimes people don't take our recommendations,
Oh.
but we'll give you what the recommendation is. This, if you want to do it this way, great. One of the things that's happened over the years is the way houses are marketed, and it used to be in the not too distant old days. I'll go back maybe 20 years. If you saw in either, usually appeared in the private remarks, and sometimes it would actually appear in the public remarks, seller will do no repairs as a result of the home inspection. What that used to mean in years gone by was, this house is such a dump There's no way possible for this guy to do the work. Either he doesn't have the money or it's too far gone. Now, when you see it, it doesn't mean that at all necessarily. It could maybe, but most cases it means, here's the deal: the market's fast and furious. If you want to do a home inspection, knock yourself out. But understand, if you come back with a laundry list of things, I'm not going to do anything.
Go to the next
Why
level.
should I'm just going to go to door number 2 or door number 3 or door number 4? And I've seen, unfortunately, over the years where that scenario, which is perfectly legal, has gotten out of control. I had one case where a guy came in and he gave us 5 pages of items, a laundry list of things that needed to be corrected. He says, I want you to fix all these things or give me a credit for $15,000. And I sat down with the agent and we tried to figure it out. And the best we could come up with is about $500. So I said to the seller, here's the deal. This guy's going to squeeze you. Just do the work. These are basically punch list items. Just check them off and get them done. In point of fact, it was $635. But he didn't have to eat 15 grand. And in the current market, they would have said, I just don't want to be bothered with this. I'm telling you up front, I'm not going to do this. So if you want to come back and play this game, understand you're going to be getting yourself out of the deal. But that's sort of how we got to this point in time. And I love the fact that you at least present, there's another option where you can come in and do the important things so you can start to make a good decision and then find out the rest of the story.
And when you're doing a pre-inspection or pre-sale inspection, are you allowed to check the electrical box? Take the panel?
No, we can't open anything up because that then crosses that line into a home inspection.
Yes, correct.
So we have to be very diligent. You can't crawl in an attic, you can't get a ladder out, and then you've also got conditions that the seller's going to put on it. The seller's going to say, you can't go in that room. You can't. So there's all these conditions that are spelled out in there. And really what it is we're looking at it going, okay, we can stand here in the front porch, we see the saggy roof. We're going down, and that's an older furnace that's probably going to need to be replaced in the foreseeable future. So we're not running anything through any of its diagnostics or any of its testing or any of that. We're literally doing a cursory look at things based solely on our knowledge, training, and experience.
So if you see a bunch of open connections and things, wires that aren't connected properly and stuff like that, it's kind of a sign.
Right.
There might be double tap breakers.
And there's probably a lot of homeowner work done here. You're going to want an electrician to look at your system. And we as inspectors that have been doing it for a while, and a lot of good agents can do this too. I can stand in front of a house and know where I have to go look. If I'm standing there and I see the siding come right down to the roof, and I see no kick out flashing on the front of the house, I know I have to look on the inside where that wall and roof meet, because I'm going to see something.
Water damage.
I'm going to find it. And it's so we know this because we've been doing it long enough. When we stand in the driveway and we see certain things, we're like, I have to go look at that. And that doesn't require a full inspection. That requires a person who knows where to look when they show up.
A little common sense. Goes a long way.
Well, and I don't really care that there's a granite countertop. I really don't care that there's nice new hardwood floors. None of that matters to me as an inspector. I'm not looking
You're
at
looking
that.
at different things. Absolutely.
And the
As it should be.
and the homeowner is excited about those things, and that's what they want to show you. And it's very easy to get distracted by that beautifulfulness that was put in and not look at the utility of it.
Right. We talked a little bit about that issue last week. We said there's an appraiser that's going to go out, and there's maybe a guy that's called a home inspector. They do different things. The appraiser, he's looking for value. The court's countups are important to him.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They're not important to you.
Not to me. Nope.
And the fact that the furnace might be a little hinky is not necessarily important to the appraiser, but it is important to you. So that they do different things, and a lot of people think that, well, I'll just have the appraiser.
It's totally different.
No, you're up the wrong tree at that point.
Well, and everybody has, in the process, everybody has somebody who's looking out for their interest. If you're a buyer, you want to make sure you have someone looking out for yours. The agent who's a buyer's agent. It gets scary when you have a dual agency. If you have a mortgage company that you don't trust, so you as a buyer have got to look out for yourself. Sellers, the same thing. Why would I take risk in allowing an inspection when I've got 17 offers? Unless the one with the inspection is so valuable, it's worth it. They're offering me $100,000 more than everybody else. Even if I need to put a new roof on this thing, I still come out ahead.
More,
and you really need to look at each deal accordingly because it may seem, I don't know, home inspection, but maybe you do.
Well, and we had that scenario where a person had offered so much more than everybody else, and it was considerably more than the value of the house. It was a cash deal, more than the appraised value. It was just a situation where they could do the
If
things.
they want to be big boys and they want to do that, that's great.
And they paid enough money, and that inspection happened. And we found some significant things. They were able to negotiate. Everybody came away happy.
And everyone, they still bought the house.
Yeah, still bought the house.
So it wasn't a deal killer.
And we joke in Rochester. It's a little bit here in Buffalo too. We hear, everybody's getting home inspections waived. No, not everybody.
No.
Very specific markets. And we're really unique to Rochester and Buffalo. But if you go to the southern tier, everybody's still getting home inspections.
Yep.
You get 40 minutes south of Buffalo, 40 minutes, everybody's getting them.
Yep.
Because there's not the demand there that there is here. And then our inner ring suburbs in Rochester, Buffalo is very similar. The inner ring suburbs, like the ones right close to the city, you're still getting inspections. Those outer ring suburbs, for us, it would be Brightons and Victors. For you guys, it would be like your Orchard Parks or things like that. That's where everybody wants to be. We're not doing home inspections there.
Yeah.
But if we go in 5 miles and we hit the next city over, next town over, we've done 10 last week.
Yeah.
It's literally street by street, location by location. So the carte blanche, you can't get one, isn't true. You really have to have an agent who is in touch with the market, literally street by street.
Right.
And I'll use an example. In Rochester, there is a street that one on side of the house that backs up the 590 expressway, real loud. The other side backs up to the Irondequoit Bay and the lake.
Wow.
On the lake side, you could not get anything because anything that hits the market is
gone.
Immediately. You know, they sell houses without them hitting the market. Now, you cross the street to the other side of the street. You can't give a house away.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Because it literally is that much. It's the 60 feet of a road makes all the difference. And the agents in that area know, well, which side of the street are you on?
Yep.
Which is why, again, you always want to deal with a good local real estate agent, good local real estate attorney, good local inspector, because they know about stuff like this.
Yeah, that property that I had in North Tonawanda that sold $50,000 over asking. There was 5 offers, and 3 of them were no inspection. We had 1 cash offer that was low, and then 2 finance offers. But the one that they went with was an inspection. Went, and it was fine, and it was just a couple things, little things that they asked for.
I do have a pet peeve about home inspections. It's like, if you want a home inspection, get a home inspection. Yeah. But do yourself the favor, make sure you're there for the home inspection. Don't just send the guy in there. You can do that. He'll do the job. The problem is they're going to send you the book, and the book is scary. The book says, tear it down. Knock this house down. They all say that.
And my paraphrase of that is this, and I use it to all my inspectors that work with us. We have 9 of us all together all over this upstate area. And I always say this: the inspection is for the client.
Yeah.
The report is for me.
Yeah.
I need something that when you call me 3 months from now and ask a question, it's in there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I did tell you.
Yeah.
There's pictures, there's photographs, there's descriptions.
And these guys are super thorough. They wouldn't be on this show.
And it's just, for us, it really is. I don't remember. I do so many inspections. Matt does so many inspections. All of us are just so busy that you could call me on Friday for a house I looked at on Monday, and I'm just going to be like, where did I go? When did
and it's like us with real estate contracts. We do it because we need to remember things.
Yes.
The best way to remember things is to write it down. That's why it's put it under the statute of frauds.
Yeah.
It's written down. It's got to be real.
And it's scary to read my report because I give you every possibility. I don't give you probabilities. We don't talk about what's probably going to happen here, what we're looking at, what could happen.
Yes. Yep.
And that's everything under the sun.
Absolutely.
So, I use an example. Just last week, we had an addition put on a house, and there was 2 new micro lamps put in, a new post put in, and there was about a 4-inch gap between the bottom of the column and the bottom of the joist. And they didn't bolt them together. They mismeasured the column, is what they had done. And it reads like this could fail and catastrophic results could occur. Mm-hmm. It's 4 bolts. Put 4 bolts in the bottom of that, problem solved. Yeah. But if you don't, and those blocks get knocked out, the center of that floor is going to...
Not good.
And
structural issue.
And the reason they did it is because they put this giant granite countertop right over it. So all that weight is there.
Yeah, now more weight.
So 4 bolts. Yeah. But you read the report and you want to run. Yeah. You just want to, I don't want anything to do with this house. 4 bolts.
It's one of the reasons why most standard leases have in them, you're not allowed to have a water bed.
Oh,
because of the weight.
yeah.
You know, you can have a nice old house there. You put 4,000 pounds of
Do they
water
even
up
make
there.
those anymore?
I don't know, but the point is, it's still in the lease.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want it. Because
Oh,
all of
yeah.
a sudden, you had a problem.
Yeah, big time.
All right, so you're doing a good job. You're in all the counties, not County Clara, which we're not going to hold that
Well, I
against
mean,
you.
if you're paying the airfare, we're on our way.
It's a lovely
We're on
county.
our way.
Okay.
I have to take my wife.
And
Yeah.
she liked
Well,
it.
her last name's McGrath. So,
Ah,
you know,
yeah.
yeah.
you
This
can't-
is darling.
you
Bring
can't
her back
fly
to the
over there and
homeland.
not bringing her home.
Oh,
That's for
man.
sure.
She'll have a good time
Yeah.
taking us over there. But home inspection's important part of the process. If you need a home inspection, get a home inspection. Talk to
Absolutely.
your real estate agent. He can help set that up for you. Make sure you got guys like this, Mike, Reed from All County. These guys are terrific. I can't say enough about them. And they tend to stay ahead of the curve, which I also like.
Yeah.
So that's a story for today. And I think I'm thank you. You came all the way in from Batavia today.
Well, I
wherever.
came from Rochester. I was at a new build inspection, and on my way through Batavia, there was a truck
People
fire.
don't realize
wow.
a new build.
Yeah.
You should have a home inspection that too.
We had some bad
Some bad-
trusses in
Yeah.
the new build. They got damage being put up.
Wow.
So you see that stuff.
Yeah, so you
You
want
got
people,
it.
you want people
Yeah,
to have a good look at your thing. So thank you for tuning in. I'm Brendan Cunningham, the real estate doctor at EXP with Matt Paul.
Thank you.
Does it all. Give us a call. You need more information? You want to buy a house? You want to sell? You want to join our team? We're here.
Like, follow, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Perfect.
And where do you guys host? Where do you host your podcast?
So,
at?
it's
We're at
going on all over the
YouTube
place.
and Spotify.
Okay, YouTube and
Yeah.
Spotify.
And you're good, obviously with us linking to it.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get you in there.
Yeah, because I do a radio show, and I got to figure out how to link to iHeartMedia.